Max playing hurt, just how impressive were you with the way he played through that?
Yeah, I think he showed his toughness and who he is and his commitment to the team. Playing hurt like that, coming back in, not skipping a beat. That says a lot about who he is and his character and what he brings to our football team.
What was going through your mind, that drive where he was in the locker room? You're not exactly sure what the status of his is.
Yeah, no, honestly, I had all faith and trust in Max, and I was on to the next play, thinking about what do we got to do to move the ball to get a touchdown, to get some points on the board, and really proud of what Max did. He jumped in, didn't skip a beat, moved the ball down the field. It was awesome to see that. We got all the trust in the world in Max, and that showed up on Saturday.
I'm sure you've seen that in practice, and you were confident he was ready. But just to see him do that in the game, and that first drive, the ball was kind of wobbly, and you guys had to punt, and comes back in. You're down 7-0 at that point. That was a big drive. I mean, to see him do that in a game and make that third down throw and a couple of those other throws. I mean, how much? I don't know. Better? Maybe none if you've seen it in practice. But do you feel any better?
No, it's always better to see it in the game. It's one thing to see it in practice, but to do it in the game, I think we know what he's capable of. But I think he proved to his teammates what he's capable of, and he built that trust with them, which is huge moving forward. And like I said, in our mindset at that point, we were running our offense. It didn't matter who the quarterback was at that point. We needed to move the ball and score, and Max did a phenomenal job.
The confidence factor, especially when he comes off the field, knowing that he just did his first big job at the first big time. And I don't know if you got on the phone and talked to him a little bit, but can you tell that there was a little jump and a little bit of spark of confidence?
I didn't talk to him right after that drive. I was kind of pumping him up through the helmet going into it, just telling him that I believe in him and he's ready to go. But just the way those things work within the game, it was just kind of like, okay, what's Mad Dog's status? Let's keep it moving. But extremely proud of him.
What do you learn about Dylan Riley in the game on Saturday?
That he is who I thought he was and has been. I mean, he's been practicing that way for a while now. And so to see him kind of put it all together out there and make a bunch of big plays up and down the field and run the ball hard and tough too. Those non-explosive plays, he's still running really hard, being efficient in the run game for us, which is something that we were focused on. So I'm just so proud of him, excited for what's next for him too.
Spencer called it a good problem to have, but how do you kind of figure out now the carry distribution at running back?
I think, again, it goes back to maximizing their skill sets, figuring out how we can get them involved, how we can utilize what they do best. That's still the primary thought. Coach Montgomery does such a good job with those guys throughout the week, getting them prepared, but also having a plan going into the game as far as what it looks like. That is always flexible, depending on, obviously, health, depending on how they're playing, depending on who's got the hot hand. That's always subject to change, but it's a good problem to have, as Coach D said.
Where do you see, especially with Dylan, Malik, and Sire, you say you're trying to find out what they do best situations. I guess right now, what do you think for each of them their best use is?
I think right now, that's a great question. I think Sai is still a very physical runner. He still brings a lot of value in a lot of areas. I mean, Dylan is proving that he can do a lot of everything and then has the big play ability. And I think I've really appreciated Malik's growth these first 3 games. He's gotten better and better and better. And I think we know what he provides out in space as a returner, catching the football. So there's a lot of things there, and it's really just my job to make sure those guys are getting those opportunities to show what they're capable of.
Just this offense in general, I mean, Eastern Washington, you had 300 passing, 300 rushing. You almost did it again the other night. I think they said it was the first time in like 6 years you guys have had back-to-back 500-yard games. I mean, just the flow you guys are in offensively, passing the ball, running the ball, I mean, how do you feel right now?
Yeah, it's all about balance. Honestly, that's the goal of our offense, is to be balanced. And we knew we had to improve in a lot of areas after week 1, and a big part of that was just our mentality and our physicality. And I think we are improving in those areas, and that showed up last game. But it's all about being consistent. When we're at our best, to your point, we're balanced. So the yardage should be right on par. And when our whole unit is playing with the right mentality, we can establish the run, and then we have a lot of things built off of that. That's when we're at our best. But it's a new week, and it's a new challenge, and it's the goal is to stay consistent, which is difficult to do in the game of football.
Tight end is such a big spot for running the football, and I don't think a lot of people can realize that. But Louder had such a big block on that big third down run from Riley, and it basically sealed the game. So, how proud are you of that group and just how they've been blocking?
Yeah, very proud of that group. I mean, it goes unnoticed a lot of the time what they do in the run game and the physicality that they play with and the toughness that they're showing to do some of the things that I asked them to do. It takes a lot of courage, so really proud of that group. I think it provides such a huge advantage to our offense when you got multiple tight ends that are willing to block. And it's something that we got to continue to evolve with, get better with, but so proud of that group.
First couple games, it felt like Chris and Ben were kind of the focus at receiver, but how nice was it to get Latrell involved in this last game?
Yeah, it was great to get Latrell involved. I mean, he's a big part of what we do, and at the end of the day, we want to get multiple guys involved. That's kind of the philosophy and what we're looking for. We want a lot of different receivers to get touches. We want a lot of different tight ends to get the ball. So again, when we're operating like we should as an offense, you're going to see a lot of guys get the ball, but Latrell deserves all those opportunities just because of the leader he is for our offense, for our team, and then it's good to see him kind of get those plays and make those plays.
What can other guys in that room learn from his experience?
That's a good question. I think a big part of it is how he does it every day, how he's willing to go in and block that safety all the time, no matter what, and what that comes with in the pass game and what the compliments come with that in the pass game, and bringing that right mentality every day, and good things are going to happen. Football always rewards you when you have that good work ethic and mentality.
Some of the penalties offensively, what did you see from some of those?
Yeah, the pre-snap penalties are still a problem for us. It's something that we have to fix. I have to fix. It's my responsibility. And then there's a lot of penalties that showed up in the game that happened within the play that are not a lack of effort, but a fundamental or technique thing that we have been focusing on, that we're going to continue to focus on and to clean those up. But the pre-snap ones we have to eliminate.
That being said, I mean, you guys put yourself in some tricky third and long situations. But you got out of a number of them. What did you think of your resiliency in those moments and Max's ability to push the ball downfield on a couple of those?
Yeah, I think it's just responding to the, moving on to the next play, being able to respond. Obviously, we can't live in that world. You don't want to be doing that every game. We try to prepare for those moments. If they do come up, we're ready for them, but we got to clean up the penalties because we don't want to be in those long situations anymore. But I think it says a lot about the group and their ability to move on to the next play and attack it as it's coming and not dwelling on what just happened.
You get like Madison. I think it really seems like he holds on to the ball too long. Like his Air Force seemed to he's getting it out pretty quick when he needed to. Like I don't know, how good is he at that? And even though I know there was one bad throw that you guys were back in third and long and he throws big in the end zone, but for the most part too, when he misses where he's probably not going to get a lot of harm away at times. At least against Air Force.
Yeah, I think that's been ongoing focus for us with him, is just making those good decisions consistently, getting rid of the ball consistently. He's got a good internal clock. He's got a good feel for the game. I was proud of just his overall accuracy and how he was confident he was ripping the ball. I mean, that's all we want to see.
When he does throw an interception, which is really rare, you're like, okay, well, what happened on that play? It's even more rare to see Maddox throw an interception in the end zone, the interception that happened. Was that a miscommunication somewhere? It looked like on the TV copy, Madsen and Zach Hill were having a pretty serious conversation regarding kind of where people were supposed to be. Could you break that down for us, Nate?
Yeah, I think a big part of that, honestly, that's my fault, my responsibility. That whole sequence of what happened, it was a good learning experience for our players, but that's ultimately my fault. I didn't feel like I put him in a position to have enough answers to execute. He was forcing something there at the end, which was avoidable, and that starts with me, and the communication comes from me to Zach, to him. So that's really what it boils down to.
How many times have you seen Cage Casey's block on that 75-yard screen?
Just the times that I've watched the game, he played a great game overall. He really did. He was confident. He had great energy throughout the game. He was dominant, and that's the Cage that we know and love. And I'm excited for him to do that kind of game after game. But yeah, those are the ones you live for as an old lineman. Those are the ones you never forget right there. That's pretty cool.
Drew mentioned this last week, but having played here, getting an edge here, he takes a little more pride in certain things he says. So, I mean, you played that position here. You went to the NFL and stuff like that. To see him doing that at your position, like, I don't know, do you relate to him any differently at all or anything like that?
I don't relate to Cage. No, I never did that. I could never run like that or block in space or any of those things. So, no, I'm just always excited to see, an old lineman play at a high level because I just love watching good football. And so to see him continue to get better and grow and then make those plays in those situations, I mean, that's just what you want to see as a coach, and then obviously as an alum and former lineman, it's fun to watch.
And you talk about the penalties and stuff. I think going back to the last year, there was one penalty. Going back to last year, I mean, just his. And when you think O-line, usually you only talk about him when doing something wrong. I mean, he kind of, I guess not quietly anymore with some of those blocks, but I mean, he just kind of does his job and doesn't give up sacks and doesn't take penalties and just kind of does everything the right way.
Yeah, and that's really the mentality of an old lineman. It's no news is good news, right? You don't want to be talked about. If you are, it's usually in a negative way because that's the reality of the position. So he's a great example of kind of what we talked about before, the fundamentals and technique. And when you do those things consistently, you can play clean, but still do it with the mentality. So I think he's been doing a great job with that.
What do you see from the App State defense?
Oh, man, I see a lot. They're really good. I mean, their defensive coordinator is an alum there, former linebacker. He's a linebacker coach as well, and you can tell by the way their linebackers play. We're into it right now, but it's a challenge just like every week. You got to start fresh, and it's another great defense coming in. I feel like every week we're kind of seeing similar style of defense and mentality, and so it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Looks like you got two of the best tight ends, maybe the two best tight ends in the Mountain West. Both you and Matt, apparently they both have the same birthday.
Same birthday, yeah.
So what would you do to celebrate that the other day?
It was morning of the game when we really celebrated. So we just had our normal tight end breakfast and celebrated with a little French toast, but nothing crazy. But it's pretty cool that Matt and Matt had the same birthday.
How close are those guys? I mean, they room together on the road. The younger one is like obviously really starting to prove himself as a playmaker and stuff like that in the passing game. But like, how close are those guys?
I think the whole room's pretty close. That's what makes it pretty special. It's a tight-knit group, whether Louder, who's a senior, or if it's a freshman that just came in. They're all really close, and that's kind of just their personalities. There's low ego, and they're fun to be around. And Matt and Matt have gotten close by being roommates on the road, by being together, by being in the trenches so much. But the whole room collectively is pretty close.
Well, thanks, Coach.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.